Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to our How to Become WBE Certified webinar. My name is Catherine Macon. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager here at WBENC ORV. And today we have Angela Ruff, Certification Specialist, and Robbie Moore, Certification Manager, who will be leading today's webinar. Before we get started, just to get a feel for who all we have on the call today, if you could drop your name and your business and your location in the chat box, just so we can say hello and get a feel for your business. Well, you are more than welcome to drop it in later on as we go. As always, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box, or you can wait until the end of the presentation to come off mute and ask your questions directly to Robbie, Angela, or myself. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Angela to get us started.
Thank you, Catherine. Good morning, everyone. I am Angela Ruff, the Certification Specialist, and I will jump right into the agenda. We will cover today about WBENC and WBENC ORV, understanding supplier diversity, what is a WBE, WBE, and WOSB eligibility, benefits of being certified, the application process, steps, cost, the importance of using WBENC Link 2.0, documents required, confidentiality and privacy, need help, contact us, certified, now what? Next slide. About WBENC. WBENC, the organization, has grown to become the largest third-party certifier of businesses owned, controlled, and operated by women in the United States, and is a leading advocate for women-owned businesses in corporate and government supply chains. Next slide. About WBENC. WBENC works with 14 regional partner organizations known as RPOs to administer world-class certification. WBENC certification is a national certification. There are over 18,000 plus certified WBEs nationally, 400 plus corporate members nationally. And WBENC ORV is one of the 14 regional partners for WBENC. Next slide. About WBENC ORV, or WBENC Ohio River Valley. Our vision is to be the premier resource for women-owned business development. The mission for WBENC ORV is leading through innovative, collaborative, and engaged group of corporates, government, WBs, and advocates. We are a catalyst for growth and sustainability by adding more corporate partners and WBs in Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. We currently are engaging in certification, business training and development, networking, and matchmaking. And currently in our RPO, Ohio River Valley, there are over 1,000 certified WBEs in our region and over 70 corporate partners. Next slide. What is supplier diversity? Business practice that ensures that goods and services are derived from a diverse supplier base. Supplier diversity does not guarantee contracts, but it provides an equal opportunity to compete. Many corporations and government agencies set annual spend goals to create a diverse supply chain, and WBENC is the largest national certifier of women-owned businesses. A lot of organizations, corporates, government institutions are now requiring WBENC certification, so that is why it is a good thing to have the WBENC certification if you are a business owner. Next slide. 7 things to know about supplier diversity. Every organization and state is different when it comes to supplier diversity. So you want to make sure you understand, according to what state you're going to operate your business is located in. You want to understand what their supplier diversity goals are. Your WBENC certification is nationally recognized, but every state is different. So that's why it's good for you to know what each state's supplier diversity portals has listed for their requirements. And if you go to a different state, or if you go through a different RPO, you may need to understand what's going on with their supplier portals. So just make sure you're well versed in each state that you're operating your business in. Being a diverse supplier does not guarantee you a contract. It gets you in the room with with purchasers and buyers, but it does not guarantee that you will receive a contract. Many of your target clients have an internal database or portal that you should join. Being a WB is just one of many ways to be a diverse business. Supplier diversity is not goodwill, it's just good business sense. And you yourself can have a supplier diversity goal set for your business as well. Next slide. What is the WBE? Women's Business Enterprise. WBENC WBE certification validates that your business is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a female or female owners. A woman's business enterprise, commonly referred to as a WBE, is a woman-owned business that is certified by WBENC. So you, the person, are not the WBE. It is your business that is the WBE. Next slide. WBE certification, or certification eligibility. Businesses must meet the following requirements. You must be a for-profit independent business, 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a woman or women. Female owners are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. Female owner or other woman holds the highest office. Owner displays evidence of legal and managerial control. Owner displays evidence of contribution of capital and/or expertise. And the business demonstrates independence and ability to function on its own. Next slide. What is a WSB or WOSB plus 2023, or should be now 2024 updates? WBENC is an approved third-party certifier for the Small Business Administration's Woman-Owned Small Business Federal Contract Program. There are 2 ways to get certified. You can get certified, added onto your WBE application when you're applying for WBENC certification. You can apply for WOSB at the same time, and it's free. There are no additional costs for that. Or you can apply through the Small Business Administration. We would kind of recommend that if you're going to apply for WSB and you're applying for WBE, that you do them at the same time and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And once again, like I said, there is no additional cost for that service. Next slide. WSB certification eligibility. To be eligible for the Women's Contracting Program, a business must meet the criteria for the WBE certification, meet an approved NAICS code and SBA size standard. Owner must devote at least a minimum of 30 hours per week to the business and must be registered in the federal system of award or system for award management. And so you will need to go to the sam.gov site to get your SAM number. Next slide. Is certification right for me? Questions you want to ask yourself when you're considering certification is what is your product or services target? Can your business provide quality service and or products on large contracts? Let's just say you're going for a large corporation that may have a set goal of they need you to meet 100,000 products or services. Can your business meet that goal? That's a question you want to consider when you're thinking about certification, the type of contracts that you're going to be going after. Are you willing to share the details of your business, your legal documents, your federal tax documents? And are you clear that WBE certification is a marketing tool that does not guarantee contracts? A certification is going to get you in the room with buyers, but it is not going to guarantee that you will receive a contract. Next slide. WBE benefits. Benefits of WBENC certification include access to supplier diversity and procurement executives, formal and informal opportunities to pursue business, access to networking events and programs, eligibility for regional and national awards and recognition, use of the woman-owned logo or women-owned logo, Women's Business Enterprise seal as a marketing tool, community support from other female business owners and like-minded professionals. And at this point, I am now going to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Robert.
Hello, I'm Robbie, the certification manager. So I'll be walking us through the rest of the process. So application process takes about 3 to 4 months, depending on your business, the structure, and just how complex it is. If you're 100% owner, it's a little easier than if you've got 20 different owners. So the process, you want to determine if you're eligible, you want to compile all the documents, and we'll share a list in a minute of what those documents are. A link to I call it a cheat sheet, but it's the Nationals page of explanation. And we will share this PowerPoint with you, so you'll have all of that. So you're going to compile the required documents, you're going to complete the online application. That's when it then turns over to us. We would do the review and a site visit virtually is most of them, depending on your industry. I think if you're in manufacturing, distribution, or you share your space with a non-certified WBE, then we would do an in-person site visit. After all that's done, we review it again completely, and then we give you the final determination, and you're in. Once the site visit is completed, allows about 2 to 3 weeks at least to make a final determination, because we review everything as a whole again. And it just takes some time, because it's Angela, it's myself, it's Colleen, we're the people behind it. It's not an AI system, it's not an automatic system, it is a person doing each of these. So the cost to apply, it's a non-refundable processing fee for new applicants and recertification, and it's based on your annual gross revenue. If you're under $1 million in revenue, it's gonna be $350. 1 to 5 is 500. 5 to 10 million is 750. 10 million to 50 million is 1,000, and 50 million plus is 1,250. So we do not discriminate on the size of your business, the length of business that you've been in. This just tries to make it a little more fair for everyone, because someone making 50 million, 350 is nothing. This just kind of makes it a little more sliding scale for them. And most of the time they have some more documents, so it takes us a little longer to process. So don't worry about your confidentiality, privacy. That's our #1 priority. WBENC link is several layers of encryption. We all sign confidentiality agreements. Our volunteers sign confidentiality agreements and NDAs. Nothing is shared, nothing confidential. We're not giving anybody your taxes. That stays strictly staff. And records are purged if it's discontinued. So whenever we say there's a lot of stuff that you have to compile, there's a 90-day window for you once you start the application to submit the application. If you don't submit in that 90 days, WBENC link deletes it, just so there's not just information just hanging out there. And no records are kept in hard copy. I think about 4 or 5 years ago, they came in, put everything digitalized, shredded all the old stuff, just so that it kind of just helps protect everyone, and there's, again, nothing just floating out there. If someone is helping you with your application, this says put them as the contact in question 17. I'm going to take it a step further and make them make them a user. If they are the contact, anytime that WBENC link sends a notice, it's going to go to their email. So if that is okay, then by all means put them at 17. If they're just going to help you and kind of check in from time to time, but you want everything to go to you, put them as a user, not the contact. So WBENC link 2.0, we're going to show you what it looks like. So you see, if you're on our website and you're how to apply and you click the logo, it's going to bring you to this page. This is when you're going to click at the bottom there, the apply for or renew certification. Same link for both parts. It just takes you to the dashboard. So it's a breakdown. It's 2 different screens combined together. It doesn't look like this exactly. But you see dashboard there, top left. If you were to do your application, you're trying to get back into it, the top right, you'll see key actions, and it's going to talk about that it's not completed. So I'm actually going to skip ahead and then come back to this slide, just so it'll make sense. So when you're filling out your application, this is the kind of screen you'll see as you complete everything. You got each section will be a different phase. I'll call it phase. 1 through 6 is pretty simple. It's a lot of just answering questions. You're filling in a lot of information. The document list is number 7. That's what's going to be kind of time consuming. So that's where this comes into play. It tells you how close you are to completing your application. So you'll see there, it talks about that says 0% incomplete. As you fill in more information, that number will go up until it's all the way to 100, and then you submit, and that's where you're gonna click on process. If at any point you don't complete it, need to come back, this right here will allow you to go straight into wherever you left off at, so that you don't lose your space. It saves everything. So don't get overwhelmed by thinking, oh man, I've got 18 documents I got to submit, because you can come back. And here's the cheat sheet that I was talking to you about, the required documents. You can scan that QR code and it'll take you to the website. But this link gives you an explanation of each of the documents that you'll need, with an explanation there. I'm sorry, my dog just walked in and decided she wanted to play. But what we're going to ask for, legal and government, owner eligibility, financial structure, personnel. But recertification is much, much easier. It's about like 6 documents compared to potential 30 plus that you could end up doing. But if you're single member LLC, it's a lot less documents. But we're going to ask for profit loss, balance sheets, your taxes through your federal taxes, things of that nature. A lot of it you should already have. You may not have like a resume, because that's the perk of owning a business, is you're not applying for jobs anymore. So you don't really have resumes updated. It's okay. Do it to the best of your ability. So if you're a brand new business, as I was mentioning, you're going to have the 3 years of taxes. You're going to send all governance and eligibility documents, your bylaws, if you file a DBA with the state, you're going to submit that. If you've operating agreement, the history of business is on the new one. Have fun with that one. 3 years of federal tax returns. If you don't have them for the business, you can submit personal tax returns for each year. So say you only started the business in 2023, so you have 2023 business taxes, but 22 and 21, you'll submit personal taxes. We just need the first 2 pages of your 1040, or no, that's if you're following with a business. Disregard that. Balance sheet and profit loss statements. It's okay if those have a lot of zeros on them as your startup. That's fine. And if you're curious on what one of those looks like, you can Google profit loss balance sheets, and you'll find templates all day long. I would also recommend reaching out to your local small business development center, and they are a great free resource to use to help you gather those documents. So as I always mention, your legal structure. So if you're an LLC, you most likely will not have a W-2. If you're the sole member, you're not going to have a list of employees, payroll documentations. Some of that stuff, you can just submit a document saying, I don't receive a W-2. I am the only employee. I don't lease, I have no loans, whatever. Or you can select not applicable, if it'll allow you, depending on which document you're asking for. So some insider tips for quick and easy certification process. 1, create your profile. Got to start there. 2, submit as many documents as possible. I would rather you give us too much information than not enough, because when you give us not enough, we have to send it back and it becomes a waiting game. And we don't want any of that. So send us, if you've got 300 sheets on your taxes, send us 300 sheets. We know what we're looking for, so we can decipher it pretty quickly. Submit your application within 90 days. Like I said, it will delete it out of the system if it's not, and you have to start over, and nobody wants that. Make sure your bylaws agreement support female control. Make sure there's no backdoor way a male can take control. Words I would say watch out for are unanimous agreement, supermajority, or the word like all shareholders. That again, we're going to look at that unless it's 100%. But then you got to watch out in the future that if you ever sell part of the company, that could be an issue. So just watch out for those words. And if someone is helping you fill it out, have the female owner review everything before signing and submitting, because it's your business. Pay the processing fee by credit card. If you pay it with a check, we have to wait until we receive that check before we can start the process. You want to whitelist WBENC link at WBENClink.org, because all of the correspondings about the application will come from there. I'll say this, even though some of the stuff I share an email address with, it will go to my spam until I whitelisted it. Send all responses to Q&As and requests for documents as one response in time and manner. This comes back to that contact address that I mentioned, because if the contact email address is not a monitored box, you're not going to see it. So make sure someone's monitoring that email box, or that you're checking WBENC link regularly. Be flexible when it comes to your site visits, because the more flexible you are, the better off, because our volunteers are working with busy schedules. Some of them are business owners, some of them work with corporations, so they're not always available 24/7. Staff is a lot more flexible, but our volunteers are not. So we ask you for you to be flexible so that the process can stay streamlined. And remember, the entire process takes about 3 or 4 months. If you've not heard from us around like day 80, shoot us a message, shoot us a support ticket asking, hey, can I get a status update? Because we want to make sure something didn't happen that we've been waiting for, and that you didn't notice it, or that it just was overlooked. Site visits. WBENC requires all new applications to have a site visit. As I mentioned, be flexible. Volunteers donate their time. After a year of certification, if you are curious and wanting to be more involved with WBENC ORV, you are eligible to join our certification committee. You got to remain anonymous, just protection, but it helps other businesses with their site visits and their process to keep it quick. As I mentioned earlier, site visits are being conducted virtually, except for distribution, manufacturing, shared space, or if we see something that we're like, hey, I think this would be better off if we do it in person versus a virtual tour. What comes next? So after certification, what happens? What's the good part? Certification open doors for your business opportunities. If you work your network, as Angela mentioned earlier, the executives are in the rooms, but not just executives, also other WBEs who love to support each other. It's a great way to find mentorship. It's a great way to fill supply chain needs for yourself. So if you're looking for a graphic designer, you can search WBENC link. So show up to our events. That's the best way to meet people. That's the best return on investment you can have. Upload your certificates, supplier diversity portals. I know Messer has their own portal, and they make sure that it's updated. Amazon has their own portal. So you want to make sure you upload that to those portals. Check out our corporate and government member online directory. That's going to be on the side of your dashboard, that once you're certified, it'll give you an extra little option there to see who our members are. Market yourself as a WBENC WBE. You're free to use our logos on your product, on your email address, your website. There's a guideline booklet, but again, you have access to that, and you're allowed to brand as long as you're certified with us. Attend our major events. So we have our Catch the Wave, that's the last week of August. This year it's in Cincinnati. Last year it was in Columbus, year before that, Lexington. We move it around to make sure everyone can get to it, but we try to keep it somewhat centralized so no one's driving super far. We have the national conference that's coming up, I think the second to last week in March. That one's in Denver. That one has 4,000, 5,000 plus people that will attend it. WBs, corporates, potential WBs. It is massive. It is amazing. Our Catch the Wave conference is about 350, 400 people that come between the WBs and the corporations. We have I think it's around 75 corporations right now that are just local members as well. And they come to our events. And I mentioned join the committees, support groups. It's a great way to get recognition, to get awards for involvement, and also just to know more about what's going on. And here's the WBENC staff, or WBENC RB staff: Lenise Smith, Executive Director, President. Colleen Roussel is Director of Certification and Outreach. There's me in the middle, Certification Manager. Catherine, Marketing and Communications Manager, and Angela Ruff, the Certification Specialist. There's our emails. I'm going to flip to the next slide, but I'll come back to that one. This is our, I think it goes to our link tree, if I'm not mistaken, with all we got going on, our main website, all of that. I think it goes to our main website. So if you have questions, there's where you can most likely find them. But also you can always email us at info@webec-rv.org. I'm going to jump back to our full staff one just to see if we have any questions. And this kind of gives you a little more time to get this one down, because these are more direct than just the general information one. Are there any questions? And I see we also have another person that joined us. So any questions? This will be sent out later to everyone that registered. So don't worry if you missed anything or you have more questions or want the links, they will be sent out. Catherine, Angela, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think you did.
No, you hit everything. Thank you, Robbie. As he said, if you all have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you could also come off mute and ask us, whichever you're comfortable with.
Or feel free to email us later if you're going to come up with a list of them and you just want them all. Feel free to email us. We'll do our best to answer them.
I have a question. Hi, I'm Laura. I have a birth certificate, and a passport. Should I upload both, or just one?
I would do the passport, honestly. I would just upload, because there's two sections I think that ask for U.S. citizenship and proof of gender. And the passport will take care of both of those. So I would just do that.
Okay, thanks.
There may be one other section, but I know a passport will take care of it as well.
There are two sections, but she can do the passport in both locations.
Perfect. Angela does more of the intake, so she's seeing that question a lot closer than I am.
Are there any other questions in the chat, Catherine?
No other questions that I see. I will also take a moment to let you all know about our upcoming event, as you are still deciding whether or not certification is right for you, or if you still want to join. We have some upcoming events that you all are welcome to attend, so you can get more of a feel of our network and the events that we put on at WBENC ORV. Our next event is going to be next week, February 7th, and that's our State of Ohio quarterly update with one of our corporate members. We have a Doing Business with Key Bank session on February 14th. And then we also have a Collaborate to Accelerate Business Growth through Strategic Alliances and Joint Ventures coming up on February 15th, along with developing an effective capability statement on February 21st. And we will be having a import and export into and out of Africa event on February 22nd. All of those events are open to the public, so whether or not you're certified, you are welcome to join and learn more about what we do, the programs we offer, and how to get involved should you do choose to join our network. And all of those events can be found on our website as well.
I thank you. I do have a few more questions if that's okay.
Absolutely.
For the, I think it's under mandatory documents, the itemized employee payroll for the month prior to submitting this application. I am technically the only employee, I guess, and I have a contractor. So would I just put whatever my payroll is from the month prior?
You can just do a brief statement listing that you are the only employee, and then you can list that you have one contractor on a simple Word document.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
You can just list on a simple Word document, if you like, that you are the only employee and that you have one contractor.
Okay. Okay. And the proof of equity investment, I had changed my my business bank account last year, May, I believe. And I see that opening bank statement is one of the acceptable proofs. Is that like the letter that I got when I opened up the bank account, or is this like the actual month statement that I from what
It could actually be the statement. If you still have the statement when you open the bank account showing your opening deposit, you could still submit that, I believe. Is that correct, Robert? I believe you can still submit that.
Yeah, you can do either one of those. Because I know that letter of welcome to the bank that is usually thrown away a lot of times.
Yeah.
But if you can use either one of those. That opening statement showing the initial deposit, even though I understand it's a switching, it's still a deposit for that business account. That's the first one. And even just a more general answer here, even if it's not a financial equity, it's a sweat equity. Some firms don't take a lot of money to start up. You can always make a written document of I devoted 40 hours for 3 weeks to start this business. It doesn't have to be that much. That sounds somewhat chaotic, but I took this much time to get all my documents, to file this, file that, to get the loans and do all that. That's sweat equity. And you're more than welcome to just upload a statement towards that as well. If you don't have like a financial statement.
Right, and contribution can also be office items that you purchased,
Yeah.
computer, laptop.
Because I know a lot of newer businesses come out of joint accounts with spouses sometimes. So it's not like there's no business account, or there's just very, very minimal financial obligation to start up. So yeah, just I brought in, I had my laptop, my own printer already. Took hours I've been doing this for 20 years, and I decided to make my own business. So I've put 40 hours a week for 20 years. There's a lot of equity right there. And then I've branched out, started freelancing, and then build all the paperwork and the legal documents to make my own business versus being a 1099 or an employee somewhere else. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's a long answer to the question.
No, it's okay. Thank you. And then my last question is for the operating agreement.
Mhm.
Should I use like a single member agreement? Since I am, so I'm just a little confused because since I am like the only one in the business, I'm just trying to figure out how to orchestrate this
You
operation.
may not have one. To be completely honest,
Okay.
if you are registered with the state as an LLC, a sole proprietor, you may not have an operating agreement because it's just you. There's no like agreement between parties to start the business. If you're a corporation, you will have to have an operating agreement or
Right.
bylaws. Again, a lot of times you can get these off of Google. I will say on that one, be careful with Google because they a lot of times are built for, they say they have those unanimous supermajority, and it's defined as like 90 or 70% or something, which may be fine now, but in the future it could hurt. But if you don't have an operating agreement because it's just you, that's okay.
Okay.
That's normal. We see that all the time.
Okay, so then
And
just,
she could just state NA or not applicable for that.
Yeah, oh, and if it forces you, like sometimes the system will not let you click the NA button. If it forces you to upload a document, put on a Word document, I am the sole owner, sole employee, I do not have an operating agreement, we're good
okay,
to go.
okay. Awesome. Thank you. That is all I have. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
No problem.
I will be applying very soon.
Good. Look forward to seeing the application.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else questions, comments, concerns?
I don't see any other questions in the chat.
Okay. So thank you all for your time. And let us know if you need anything.